Greetings from the Erie Coast. This is Mad Shad. And this is another episode of the Zoot Report, Sunroof Edition. Skull. Oh, yes. Wow. Today is a wonderful day, beautiful day here in Northeast Ohio. Currently 86 degrees. Look at that sun. Look at that. 86 degrees. It's supposed to be getting warmer and warmer. I don't even mind. I'm in a great mood. Did some work today. Did some shit. Got shit done. Kicked ass at it. You know, sense of accomplishment, all that bullshit. Right? And it got done in a decent hour. So, what are we going to talk about today? I don't know. Yeah, you know, and I love this saying, and y'all probably do too. You know, nobody drinks from the skulls of their enemies anymore. Which, by the way, has no historical significance whatsoever. It's just made up. It was a made up line in a movie. Yeah. Name that movie. I think a few movies have done it. But you know, there was a time in human history and war, in the history of war, where a nation, a people, an army that was defeated, you know, trophies were taken, spoils of war. They don't do that shit no more. Nobody takes trophies anymore, right? You heard about Vietnam, you know, people taking ears, scalps, noses, weird shit like that. That's pretty fucking gruesome. I mean, you know, whatever. It's funny. Here's a story for you about my family. Once again, I have the gun. It is a 1913 Colt Savage 32 caliber. One of the family heirlooms of guns of my father's archives. You can see that on the video. But it's a Savage, right? It's made in America. The story is that my great-great-grandfather killed a German and took it off his dead body. Now, you can see the problem with that already. Is it possible? Sure. Maybe that German officer, which they were known to carry other pistols, not that pistol, American-made 32. It's possible that that German officer took it off of a American soldier, and my great-grandfather got it back. I doubt it. The gun, I looked it up, did the history on it. It was readily available in just about any hardware store for like price range from like $15 to $35. I mean, really. It was a very common little gun. Not a fear frozen throat. It was literally the size, smaller than the size of my hand. Yeah. So, spoils of war, huh? But you've heard stories about, you know, especially in World War II, fighting the Germans and the Japanese. Lots of trophies taken. And, you know, the military was like, well, okay, I mean, yeah, you guys just killed that guy. Of course, you're welcome to the spoils of war. The policies changed since we found out in Africa. Can't take anything off dead bodies. Not supposed to. Damn it. Can't find allegedly a cache of like automatic weapons from different countries, ammo, smuggle them back into the United States. No, you can't do that. Obviously, right? For obvious reasons. But yeah, you know, you've seen that. I mean, full uniforms, Nazi Germany uniforms, daggers. Damn, y'all trying to get killed. All right, trying to get killed in traffic. Full. You know, the hottest stuff is the SS stuff, the SS dagger, anything with the SS on it. Right? They had their own special weapons, their own special pistols. They had ceremonial swords, they had daggers, they had guns, their helmets, everything that had an SS on it was just prized. Because, I mean, they were their elite troops. So killing them was an honor, right? A high honor. So you hear about that, right? You know, the greatest generation. They took trophies. So, you know, fast forward into, you know, the Japanese conflict. The history with the Japanese, of course, they would, a lot of their swords, which is called gunto mount, and then they had military issue swords, which were not gunto mount. Gunto mount was, it was tradition, thousands of years old, tradition, hundreds of years old, let's say hundreds, that these families that are connected and have history with samurai and shogun and being retainers, right, have weapons of war. And it is tradition and customary to take your father's sword to war. It's a great sword. It'll serve you well. And they did that. But they had to adhere to the military standards. So they took off the subia, they took off the they took off the handle and the guard and replaced it with a military style handle with a lanyard. It's called a gunto mount. Look it up, they're pretty cool. But the sword itself is a family heirloom, right? Dating back hundreds of years, you know, hundreds, 600, 700, 800 years, right? These swords have seen more battle and blood than anybody is supposed to. It's a great honor. And if their son is killed in battle, the sword is retrieved, returned to the family. You know, it's, hey, your son served, he died on the battlefield, here's your sword back. It's a great honor. It's a better honor to come back with the sword alive, but if not, hey, you get the sword back. That's another tradition that they kept. It's just the right thing to do in Japanese culture. Well, they did it with their wars. When they fought each other, they would return their swords. When they fought the Americans and the rest of the country, the rest of the world, we kept their swords and brought them back to the United States, as you would do, as one would do, taking trophies, right? Spoils of war. And yeah, there's some, and I love Japanese swords. I do. Love my katana. I love Kendo. I love it. It's great. It's part of my ethos. You know, you're American. You don't know what that tradition is. Like, yeah, I got this cool fucking sword off of dead Japanese that I killed. I got a cool their guns. I mean, they had some rifles. So the American soldiers brought the shit back. There's stories of a gun-to-mount sword being used as a machete, kept in the back of a truck for 30 years, totally rusted and destroyed. Used to chop corn on the farm. I mean, shit like that. Got duct tape around the handle. Fucking priceless sword. Priceless. I mean, absolutely. There is no price on it. It is considered priceless. And in Japanese tradition, they won't pay. There are people that will pay for it. There is people that will actually travel around and try to hunt down these swords and buy them, take them back to Japan, and present them back to the families free of charge. Because that's also the tradition, is to return the sword free of charge. Now, mind you, the family, it's considered bad luck or bad omen to buy the sword back, right? Think about it, honor, right? You want me to buy back my dead son's sword? Fuck you, right? So talk about dishonor. But there are, charitable organizations in Japan that comb the countryside still to this day, in America and other countries, looking for gun-to-mount swords, looking for family heirloom swords. When they find them, they offer them a lot of damn money, and then they return them back, and it's a big ceremony. I mean, it's likened to getting your father's body back, who went off to war, full of honor, full of medals and accomplishments. You know what I'm saying? That kind of shit. It's amazing. It's fucking amazing. I know this secondhand because I have a friend of mine that found a sword in Okinawa, allegedly, and allegedly shipped it back to the United States, and allegedly found out who owned it, whose sword it was, and contacted the family. The family, of course, informed him what the protocol was, and although they could not give them money, literally for the rest of their life, they can travel for free. They can stay at any place that this family owns, a hotel, a resort. Oh, you want a yacht for the weekend? Here's one. And it's literally a guy from Alabama with his Australian half Aboriginal girlfriend. They lived their best life. I don't know what they're doing anymore, and I'm not going to say their names, but they literally partied it down after they got out of the Marine Corps on the Japanese family's dime. Probably still to this day. So, and they were there. They went to Japan to present the sword in the ceremony and was a part of the whole thing. And wow. I mean, no shit. That's a badass story. I wish I could talk to him and get more on this story. I was there. I helped him dig it up. He tripped over it in the middle of the night, running behind the barracks, going to the NCO club. There was like 3 or 4 of us, and he fucking boom! He tripped over it. We had ran that trail, I don't know, hundreds of times, and it's a well-worn path through the jungle. It's not far at all, really. Through a little jungle area behind the barracks. It goes down a hill and then back up a hill, and on the other side of that hill is a road, and that's where the NCO club is. Across the street, you're at the NCO club. Okinawa. Camp Schwab. Allegedly. So, we've ran that thing many times. And that one day, But we thought it was a root. There's roots sticking up out of the trail, you know. He busts his ass. Like, I think he broke his nose. He bloodied his nose. Boom! Hit the ground hard. We're like, oh shit! You alright? He's like, what the hell? And he tripped over a damn, literally the handle of a gunto sword sticking up out of the ground. Like, what the fuck? It was hard packed dirt. We got our e-tools out. I started fucking digging. No shit, this fucking sword. He unsheathed it. The blade was pristine. Just beautiful. Like, wow. And he had the wherewithal. He's like, oh shit. He covered it up. We went back to the barracks. He covered it up. And he found a big old box, put it in a box, and shipped it home. Said, hey mom, hang on to this. Trophies of war. Wow. Nobody drinks from the skulls of their enemies anymore. Like I said, you know, back in the day, it was customary to see. You've heard the Indians talk about taking scalps, right? They would run through the battlefield, take the scalps of their kill. They'd have a scalp pole or a scalp wall, dry them out. Crazy. So many stories. I can't even really touch on them all. They just keep. There's so many historical occurrences of, you know, the winning side taking trophies. There's also the dishonorable job of corpse robbing. It's another thing considered dishonorable, yet practiced at just about every battle. You know, the Norse, everything. Now, mind you, the Japanese, I mean, whatever. They were considered the lowest of thieves. The lowest. Because they would wait till the battle was over, and like vultures, they would crawl through the dirt, the mud, the gore, the blood, and search the bodies for valuables and take them. And a lot of times it was jewelry, or it was charms, it was weapons and swords and knives, and, you know, things that once again had family significance, major family historical significance. They would take these items, you know, pulling out gold teeth, you name it, right? Any kind of trinkets, or, you know, any kind of charms that, you know, because that was the thing, right? Before you go to war, hey, wear this necklace, wear this gold cross, wear this, you know, this amulet to protect you in battle. Well, obviously it didn't work. Along comes some fucking grave robber, corpse robber, and takes it and pawns it. Which ultimately was, because it had identifying marks on it, right? They would just melt it down, turn it into something else. You know, the vice and grift was still there. Dishonoring the dead. So, it continues. It continues to this day. Yeah, the Americans, we're kind of it's frowned upon and forbidden to take any kind of things off bodies. We do it though, you know, if nobody's looking, we can smuggle it back home without nobody knowing about it. Oh, but the enemy does it to us. Oh, wow. Yeah, gruesome. But the flayed skin of the Benghazi guys, they flayed the skin of one of the Benghazi guys. Yep, one of the Americans, and literally displayed it in the town for months on end. It was like a traveling piece. It went from one house to the next, and they would hang it up, put clothes on it. They would put dresses on. They defiled the corpse. Absolutely defiled the corpse. Not only did they defile the corpse, they defiled the corpse. Literally defiled the corpse. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not even. Yeah, I want to, but I'm not. Okay. But anyway, you get the point. They kept his flayed skin. You know, they would wear it and dance around and do their little dances. You know, the gear was passed around. Yeah, anybody and everybody had the gear that they were wearing. You know, tucked away somewhere. Right. Some American web gear. Their guns, their knives. Wallets, dog chains, right? Pictures of their loved ones, their driver's license, their service, their SGLI, their SG ID, service member ID, all that. You know, they still have it. They still have that shit. So, look at the wars of now. I don't know. Maybe they're doing it in Ukraine. Maybe they're doing it in Russia. Right? UK and Russia, they're pretty sadistic, but they don't want it to get out that they're doing atrocities to the enemy, because it's considered a war crime, whatever, right? And you best believe that United States military is they want to be seen as the most professional fighting force. So by no means are any trophies taken, right? By no means. Because the U.S. military will bend over backwards to deliver the body of the fallen enemy, or allow their family to come get them, whatever, you know. Yeah, hey, here you go, enemy. Oh, here's some money just in case, you know. Or you're wailing and gnashing of teeth, you know. All the grandmothers are, you know, doing their wailing thing, throwing their arms in the air, slamming their head on the concrete. Show their anguish at their fallen jihadi son. War reparations. We literally bombed the crap out of Iran. Fucking damn, tons of ordnance, tons of explosive ordnance. Who knows how many we killed, civilian and military. Yet we're going to go in there, and we did the same thing with a lot of other countries. We bomb the shit out of you, then we come in and start rebuilding. It gives us a chance to, you know, really take over the country. They say that we're doing, you know, rebuilding, and actually what we're doing is, you know, taking ownership of the country, installing our people in power, all that stuff, and then leaving. rebuilding and then having a back door to everything there. Yeah, installing all the spy equipment, all the, you know, maybe some future sabotage things. You know, maybe the basement's full of IEDs. Maybe the basement's full of fucking C4. You know, in their new Capitol building that we exploded. I don't know. I don't know. Is war different? War is totally different now. War is totally different. When I was in Africa, they were threatening to chop off our arms. They were going to chop off our arms, our legs, our heads. This is the threats we got. And they were going to, you know, parade them around on sticks and, you know, use them to beat their cattle with, is what, like my hand is going to be on a stick and it's going to slap some cow, you know, as a herding tool, as a farm implement. My skull and my bones will be, you know, polished and given to the shaman, witch doctor, whatever, and you know, he's gonna use that to tell the future and shake and rattle the bones to tell the future and shit. It's got big energy, got big magic in it. Has war become more honorable? I mean, I talk about how honorable the Japanese were, right? But it was also well known, that shoguns and samurais and retainers at times kept the bodies of the enemy, of the slain, and used them as cadavers, as training aids to refine their katana skills. I mean, think about it. You got a dead body. How good are you? Can you cut this cadaver in half while it's still fresh, right? I mean, it's you know, it's macabre, but it's a purpose, right? Training, enlightenment, how to be a better samurai. And how would you know? I mean, it's perfect training for someone who's never, you know, never cut somebody, or they just want to get better at cutting somebody. I mean, the body is just meat and bones, right? Practice how to crack the skull, how to cut the arm off, how to cut the body in half, you know, how to do the little tricky techniques, you know. Cutting the veins of the arms, cutting the inside of the legs, yeah. How to cripple the legs, the back, one fell swoop. And there's documentation about it. Now, normally they would try to, you know, like use someone that was unrecognizable, unidentifiable. You know, there were a lot of people that joined the army just as regular folk. You know, it wasn't all just shoguns and samurais going to battle with each other. You know, it was just regular folk sometimes. You know, the majority of your mass of your army had to be picked from the villagers. You know, here's your rudimentary armor. Here's a pike. You don't get a sword unless we got some cheap shit lying around. But here's a pike, you know. Here's a spear. Those are simple to make, mass produced, and they're king of battle. You know, you can create a phalanx wall with a you know, couple hundred pikemen. You can turn the tide of war. So yeah, your shoguns and your samurais and your professional fighters, they had they might have a spear, if they're, they had cavalry, right? They had bows and arrows, they had their katana, but the katana was, and the short sword, the wakizashi, it was a backup. That was the backup. The main weapon was the spear, or the pike, the bow and arrow. Even the bow and arrow was kind of considered dishonorable, but they still tried to shoot the retreating general in the back. So I mean, you tell me, right? Oh God. So there's honor, dishonor, right? Yeah. Make up your mind. But yeah, we don't keep trophies anymore, right? We don't. Maybe some officers, I've heard of that. They're allowed to keep some trophies. They're allowed to keep things. You know what? I gotta get gas. Fuck. That sucks. Anyway. Gotta get the gas. It's the middle of the week. Can't wait to get home though. I've got a package. Yeah. Oh well. Duty calls. Yeah. I don't know. It'd be kind of gruesome though. I mean, drinking from the skull of your enemy. Especially if it was freshly killed. Ugh. I mean, think about all the bloodborne pathogens and the diseases you could get. I mean, I'd want that thing to be sterilized first, And you see the chalice, right? The skull chalice, right? I want it to be refined and polished and adorned with fucking diamonds and fucking emeralds and shit, right? Gold. I want this thing to be a piece of artwork. I don't think I could actually just, crack somebody's skull and take a piece of it and pour some fucking beer in it and drink from it, that would probably be a bad idea. You know what I'm saying? Very bad idea. I would probably die later, I don't know, maybe if you took it and kind of just scrubbed it out with some Dawn's dish detergent, put it in your dishwasher, boiled it for 20 minutes or something. Yeah. Boiled it for 20 minutes. Yeah. Disinfected it. Oh, yes. I don't know. Fucking bitch. Yeah, you're a bitch. Yeah. I'm trying to get gas. All these people are just fucking zooming right in there. Yeah. I don't know. What the fuck are you? Okay. I see. Yeah, we're gonna have to get creative here. Yep, we gonna get creative. Stand by. And yes, I'm gonna block traffic. That's right. Anyway, folks. Anyway, thank you very much for hanging out with me. This is another episode of the Zoot Report. Nobody drinks from the skulls of their enemies anymore. Wow. Let's go.